Good afternoon, runners, and welcome back to another video from me, That Running Girl. In today's video, I've put together 5 pre-race anxiety tips that you can take and put into practice for your next race. These tips are compiled from 19 years of running experience and roughly 15 or 16 years of racing experience. Thought it was really important to make this video because I have always struggled with pre-race anxiety. It's often been worse for me than running the actual race, the part where, you're all crammed in with everyone else and you have to get from the car park to the start and you have to collect your number. And, if there's traffic on the route or if anything goes wrong on that morning, it just feels very destructive to the actual race itself and to your kind of mental preparation and your mental performance in the race. So given I haven't made a video for a long time, I thought I would make this one because I think there's some really helpful tips. So the first thing I'm going to say is quite obvious, really. When you're in a race, you obviously want to have a calm mindset, but have your game face on, feel completely confident, and feel like you have control over the race, which is quite difficult because ultimately we never have control over the race. We can only control how we actually perform and, just make sure that we always perform our best physically and mentally. Also, conditions, and if you don't know the course, can all throw up completely different obstacles and just add a bit of turbulence in the race that you don't want to account for. So with all of that in mind, I have put these 5 tips down, which are things when I think about the things that really help me feel more prepared and less chaotic before the race. So hopefully they will help you. So the first one is to know the course. Now, back in the day, in my early 20s, I would just rock up to races and I would just race them. I would find it really fun, the unpredictability of the course, not knowing a course, and I'd just find it, a real adventure and just literally take on whatever the course threw at me, from like 5K to marathon. Whereas when I look back now, I definitely think, even though I did run those courses really, really well, and probably my younger naivety and the adrenaline probably kicked in and enabled me to run really well. But if I look back on those races, it would have been really nice to actually have the knowledge of the course or know something about the course. So these days, I really feel like familiarity is a game changer. A lot of people also think if you do the same races that it's really boring, but I find if you do the same races, you can obviously compare where you were with previous year's times, but also there's a real familiarity in knowing the course. So, you know when that hard hill is going to come up, that it's a 2-lap course. So, maybe you take it easier on the first lap and put your foot down on the second lap. It's just knowing those familiarities in the course enables you to be more confident, I feel, especially if you feel like you're running well at the moment. And even if you're not running well, just knowing where those obstacles in the course lie and having the familiarity of knowing the course, just for me, is just a game changer. So you can do that a few ways. You can look it up usually online, usually on the website of the race itself where you enter it. They will have a course map. You could also look it up on Strava. A lot of the time these races are on Strava. Or if you live locally, you could either run, walk, or cycle the route. So, if you've run the course a few times independently in training and then you go and race the course, I feel like that's going to be a real confidence boost. The second point is to make sure you eat something reliable that is friendly to your gut health. So this is going to be completely different for everyone. And obviously everyone always says, oh, you have to carb load. But I have found in the past that actually eating a mixture of carbs and cruelty-free protein works best for me. So obviously being a vegetarian, I might eat, corn spaghetti, but I don't eat a huge amount of carbs these days before a race because I feel like if I overload my stomach, then things tend to go wrong. And I also like to eat my main meal on the lunch time of Saturday if I have a Sunday race, because again, I just feel like having the time for your body to digest that is better for me. And again, that goes for running fuel during the race as well. So just playing around with things in training so you don't do anything new on race day is going to make you feel more confident. The third point is to prepare your running gear the morning or the lunchtime before the race day. So for example, if I have a race on Sunday, I will prepare my stuff ideally on Saturday morning, or worst case scenario, Saturday lunchtime. I did this recently as something new because I realized I'd been literally getting my running stuff ready to do a race at 10 o'clock the night before, and that was causing me so much anxiety. So I just had a brainwave and thought to myself, why didn't I just get this ready before? So literally, if you're using headphones, charge them up. If you're using your Garmin, charge it up. Put your fueling in your race belt, do your flat lay, do everything you need to do, and just do it early, because that then gives you a window of time to just chill and get mentally in the zone. Number 4 is to always enter the race before the day. So again, this is something that definitely became apparent to me when I did Stratford Half Marathon this year. So Stratford Marathon is a course that I have done for over 10 years, and it was always run by Stratford Athletics Club and Rotary Shakespeare Company, and they always worked together and it was always seamless. But it's actually been taken over by Run Through now, which are a much bigger company. And so I entered on the day, and the race village was really, really far away from where the race actually started. And I always leave about an hour between getting from the car and parking up to when the race starts, which in 19 years of racing has always been enough time. But when I went to that race in May this year, it wasn't enough time, and it was really chaotic, and my partner literally had to throw me over the start pen, and it was just absolute chaos. And all of that was because I entered on the day. If I had entered and then sent my number in the post, or I'd just picked it up and I didn't have to stand in a queue waiting to register, I wouldn't have had all of that chaos. I'd have literally had my number. I'd have probably turned up just to the start line because I didn't need to go to the headquarters or the race village, and I'd have felt so much less chaotic about the whole thing. So just, arriving with your number on, if you can, enter before online, and then get your number before entering the day, really does help to decrease the amount of chaos on the morning, which you just don't need before a race. And the 5th point is to choose races that align with your racing agenda or general enjoyment of running. Now, this is something I could make a whole video on, but when I did London Marathon, which is, one of the main sort of iconic races of all the 30 marathons I've run, I crazily didn't know I didn't like crowds or noise or, a huge amount of people. And so for me to be penned in, even though I had a good for age start with 40,000 other runners, just, 10 deep all around me, and not being able to run freely until about 9 miles in because everyone was so packed in and close, feeling like you're going to get tripped up, was just my worst nightmare. So then when I kind of decided to myself, okay, what is the maximum number of people that I realistically want in a marathon to feel comfortable and confident and not overwhelmed or anxious, which was about 1,000, which was when then I started thinking, right, I'll just, I'll keep doing Abingdon Marathon because it's the local Oxfordshire Marathon. I've done it for over 10 years. And I know it only has roughly 1,000 runners. So I generally choose races that are 1,000 runners or below, just because for me personally, it helps me to feel less anxious. So again, just taking what helps you to feel calm, control, and confident about a race, whether it's the number of runners, whether it's the terrain, you might not like running off road because you're paranoid about rolling your ankle, whatever it is, just choose races that align with the main things that you enjoy while running a race, or the main things that you feel are going to really align with your performance and make it so that you have a really successful race. Another thing, so a bonus pre-race anxiety tip, is to not take people to the race that stress you out. So some people literally send your anxiety skyrocketing, and you do not want to be taking those people to a race with you. So if you have to go alone and leave those people behind, just leave the people behind. So that is my 5 pre-race anxiety tips. Let me know what you do to calm your anxiety before the race, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.